Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this webcast from Root Solutions on our new product, which is Creo Simulate Live, powered by Ansys. We're going to be taking you through this short presentation this morning. Should take about half an hour. That's what we're budgeting for. We know you're busy people. Thank you for coming, and we'll get through this as quickly but as carefully as we can. Oops, wrong button. So just a couple of introductions. My name's James Brooks. I know most of you. I can see the names popping up on the webcast here. You may have met me before. I'm an account manager here at Root Solutions, take care of the Southeast and Malta. And I'm joined today by Rory. Again, many of you will have met Rory, presentations and demos down the years. He's our pre-sales guy, and he's got the difficult job of showing you the product today. Quick agenda. We're going to do a little bit of positioning on what the product is and where it should sit inside your development team and your engineering teams. Bit of a demonstration followed by some questions at the end if we have time. Okay, before we get going, we just want to do a quick poll and find out a little bit more about you and what your role is. It helps us to guide the presentation towards our audience. So if you could quickly respond to these polls, we'll show them now. So the first question is, are you a design engineer or an analyst or both? If you could answer this would be great, and then we'll show those results in a moment or two. Okay, thanks for that. That's pretty good. We'll just show those results. Brilliant. So we can see from that that the majority of you are engineers. Quite a few have two hats on, and then we've got some analysts on the team as well there. So, yeah, that's pretty much what we expected. The majority core Creo users in our audience, and that's good. The product is directed towards you guys really, but also to those that use both, which is great. Okay, second poll. So do you use Creo Simulate at the moment, or another tool such as Ansys, another solution, or do you not have a simulation tool at the moment? If you could answer that, that'd be brilliant. And again, it helps us to drive what we're doing today. Brilliant. Okay, and we'll just show those results there. So a pretty even spread on there. A lot of Creo Simulate users. Surprisingly, quite a lot of you have no option at all on there, which is interesting to see. This will be quite interesting for you, particularly with the ease of use and the speed side of things. So yeah, fantastic. So the reason why we're showing you this product today is that the reasons why people start looking at simulation or try to include simulation as part of their process, some of the reasons why people use CAD is that they have these key business drivers, which is to reduce design cycle times, maybe to get a deeper understanding of product performance, get quicker time to market, all these catchphrases and keywords that we hear all the time with CAD and the like, and certainly with simulation. And that hasn't really changed over the years. People invest in simulation to try and address some of these problems. So the more virtual prototypes they can do, the fewer physical ones they have to produce, which is obviously a lot more cost effective. The quicker time to market obviously has massive benefits in terms of cost as well. So these subjects haven't really changed down the years. It kind of brings us to our next slide, and I'm sure you've all seen slides like this before, very similar slides in terms of mapping that development process with your product. So, concept into design, using simulation to refine that design, and then moving into the prototype and manufacture area. And a lot of you will have maybe invested in simulation to get better quality and certainly better results in terms of driving the concept and the design with accurate simulation results and validation that your product's actually doing what it's supposed to do. Unfortunately, it does actually work like this. And I say unfortunately because simulation really comes in at the end of that concept and design phase. It's quite often used as a validation tool for a final pass and verification that your design is working, rather than at the beginning or during the concept and design phase to actually drive that design and development. And there's a few reasons why that happens. There's a few barriers that are in the way for us there. And quite often it's because the simulation tools that we're using are tricky. You know, they require a specialist or a consultant or an expert, not just to drive the software, but to interpret the results as well. And you may not have as many simulation experts as you have design engineers. Quite often as well, you can't use the design model. You know, the model itself has to be refined. You have to de-feature it so that it's quicker to run the analysis. You know, a fully formed model might take a hell of a lot longer. And again, that impacts on the amount of time you've got to use it for the design process and refine your designs. The other thing is that design is an iterative process. So you go through the effort of designing your products, then running a simulation on it, find out something's not quite working as you expected. You have to then go back and create a new iteration, you know, simulate that again, find out it's not quite worked. And there's a very kind of stop-start process to this where you're going back and redoing your work over and over again. And because the simulation comes at the end of the design cycle, there's very little time to actually produce these multiple iterations that you need to get an accurate result. So what we've done at PTC is we've partnered with Ansys, two absolute Goliaths in their respective fields, and we've come together to help address some of these barriers and some of these problems that people are facing with simulation in terms of putting it in the hands of a designer and using that product to help drive the design process rather than it being used as a simple validation tool at the end. So what we're hoping to do is produce a process that looks a little bit more like this, where we're giving the development teams what they need, which is a tool that it's so fast and so responsive, so straightforward and easy to use that it can literally keep up with the design as the design's being modified, as the design is going through these first two concept and design phases. So no copies, no waiting around, just the results shown on the model as you're actually modifying and designing the parts. So what this has manifested as is this new product, this Creo Simulate Live, which will be used throughout these early stages, the design and the concept phase, and it will give us instantaneous and interactive guidance for that detailed design. Now, the nice thing about this product is that if you've already invested in something like Creo Simulate or Ansys or any of these other products, it will work in tandem with them, particularly with Creo Simulate. It has a bidirectional passing of information there. So those tools can still be used, but they can be used more for the high fidelity, high accuracy simulations that you do at the end, that final validation that your work is where it should be. So that's where Creo Simulate Live is really positioned, is to be put in the hands of the engineers as they work to guide their designs, and then we can move into the more deeper products, if you like Creo Simulation or Ansys, to do those high fidelity, high accuracy results. Okay, so that's where we are in terms of positioning. That's why Creo Simulate Live exists, and that's where we're hoping to target our customers and hopefully enable them to integrate simulation a bit more into those early phases. At this point, I'm going to hand over to Rory, who's now going to take you through some of the key capabilities of this product demonstration, and then I'll come back at the end for a bit of a summary and do some questions with you.
Okay, cheers, James. Thanks for that. Morning, everyone. So, run through some of the capabilities of Simulate Live then and how it all works, and then we'll get a look at some demonstrations. So first of all, just going to mention that the solver. So we use a linear solver within this Simulate Live. So we haven't got any non-linear, but when it comes to doing structural, thermal, and modal simulations, we have those covered within this product. Now, one of the key selling points of this product is there's a meshless environment. So we don't actually have to deal with a H or a P mesh, going in, refining that, altering that. That's all handled by the computer. Okay, there's no messing around with meshes. Okay, it runs seamlessly within the Creo environment. So like most add-ons for Creo Parametric, they are integrated within the software itself. So there's a new tab which you can jump into with a new simulation tree for all your defined studies, be that a thermal, a structural, or a modal analysis. They're all integrated within the Creo UI. You don't have to jump out of the product with multiple models, duplicates, that sort of stuff, step files. It's all run off the CAD software, the CAD data itself. So just a bit of an overview with the simulations themselves. So we can work with part or assembly level simulations. Okay, the assembly side of things will be treated as a bonded assembly, so it assumes everything is connected and will be performed at the top level. Okay, these simulations, as James said, they run continuously, so this is where it really helps us with that design phase. We can go in and make live changes to our model, be that at the assembly or part level, and see how that alters our analysis, be that structural or whatever it may be. This product also works with design exploration. So with the new licensing structure, if you have one of those new licensing packages, design exploration comes as standard, which enables you to explore various different ideas in the concept phase of design. And this simulation works with that. So as you're going in and jumping backwards and forwards between those branches within design exploration, your simulation updates as well. So when it comes to viewing the results then, we have a results dialog box that pops up, and in here we can view the usual sort of stuff you'd expect. So we can change the result type, whether you're viewing maybe deformation result for a structural or maybe stress. If you're looking at a thermal analysis, you can change whether you're looking at sort of temperature or heat flux, and how we investigate those values. We can view that through a surface, ISO surfaces, or highlighting min and max values on the model. Quite straightforward. Or again with animations. Okay, so you can animate the deformation. We have a legend on the right hand side which shows us the scale of the values we're looking at with regards to our simulation. Okay, and there's a little bit more on that when I come to the demos themselves. We also have these sort of query probes, so you can choose an element on your model and view the particular value at that point, whether that's temperature if you're doing a thermal analysis, or stress if you're doing a structural. Okay, there are also extra options for reporting and again showing those minimum and maximum values on the model. So let's have a look at some demonstrations or examples of these sort of three main areas, so structural, thermal, and modal. So I pre-recorded some videos here. Everything is at full speed, okay, so nothing's been sped up or slowed down. But I've recorded these again just to keep us on schedule. We want to try and keep this within the sort of the half-an-hour time frame, which I think we should be able to do. So let's start off then with a structural analysis. So I've got a very basic model on screen here, some AFX beams and some sheet metal components with some solid welds in. And you'll see there up top, we've got a new live simulation tab. That takes us into this Ansys powered live simulation. So first things first, I'm going to go in and constrain my model. So I'm just going to fix those two bottom faces down, and I'm going to apply a load, okay, to that top weld plate there. Using the mini toolbar and the little coordinate system at the bottom right-hand side, I can tell which direction I need to go in, and we'll apply a 1,000 Newton force in that -y direction. Now this model already has some materials applied to it, so I'm just adding that to the model tree so you can see those. So we've also got materials applied to this model, and we go straight in and we hit run. Okay, as you can see, there's no meshing whatsoever, and the simulation powers up straight away. We can see those results instantly, and that is pretty much now finished its analysis. So we can go in and view these results. Now I can change what type of result I'm displaying, whether that's stress or deformation. I can easily show and hide my minimum and maximum values, which you'll see with those red and blue circles on screen. Okay, I say we can jump backwards and forwards and change these sort of display types. So here I can look at the deformation, and we can play animations like you're used to within most simulations. So we can see that deformation at a scale with value. Where the real power comes in though is at this stage here. I want to make some design changes. Maybe that value of deformation is too great for what I need. So what I'm going to do here is add in an extra component, okay, with its weld. So we're adding a bit of a supporting bracket there. And as you see, as I've added in that component, my simulation is updating. I'm going to make another change here. I'm going to take that bracket that I've added in, and I'm going to pattern that. So we're going to pattern it in a direction by 6 or so times. And again, the simulation updates. Our reference pattern the weld over the top of that. Creo 4, we added in solid welds, so we can take them into account when it comes to things like simulation or mass properties. And again, we've got our value instantly. So within a matter of seconds, we can go in, make design changes, and get instant feedback out of our models. Jumping down to part level here, we can change a sheet metal parameter here, so just the thickness of this part. Again, back up to the top level, update the simulation. No need to go in and change constraints, can change loads, remesh the model. It all happens automatically in the background. And again, we've got those results finished and done on screen there in front of us. It's a very high level overview there of a basic structural simulation. You can sort of see the instant feedback and the speed at which we can work. So now I want to show you a couple of other areas. So we'll move on to the next one here, which will be a modal simulation. Okay, so analyzing some frequencies within a part. And so a few of you may have seen this model before. It's our little drill. I'm just going to take a look at this rear casing here. So we'll open this up. I've been tasked with finding out if this thing's up to scratch or not. So we're just going to choose the material this product is going to be made in. So using our granted list of materials here, I can go in and choose an ABS. And we can jump into the live simulation and choose modal from the drop down. And you'll see that adds it to the simulation tree with our constraints in there. Now I'm just going to run this analysis off the bat here without constraining this component, just to see how it behaves, how it adapts with these different frequencies, and view the animation on that. Because what I wanted to show you, it's not just design changes that we can make on the fly, it's, you know, the simulation constraints as well. So I've run that simulation there, but I can come in and add constraints afterwards. And again, my simulation will update automatically. So I've constrained those spaces there. I can now view how this thing's going to behave at different frequencies. So we've got some different resonant frequencies here that I can drop down in my results window. And I can see these different resonances. So you see the value changing in the legend there as we cycle through these different modes. I think there's 6 or so in here. But the one I'm interested in is this first one, this 800 Hertz value. I want to try and up that value. It's a bit low for what I'm looking at within this model. So let's try and, you know, sort of build that value up a bit. And I'm going to do that using a trajectory rib. So if you work with sheet metal components, so you've not used this tool before, it's a great little tool for adding in multiple ribs across, you know, let's say plastic components or whatever it is. So we're using a defining sketch here, and some of the later Creo tools available to us. I'm just going to sketch out my location for my ribs here. As it happens, I'm not too concerned at this stage about my dimensions, so I'm just going to go in and OK the sketch, and we'll set a thickness value to those ribs there. Now hit OK on the feature, and again you'll see that simulation automatically updates and provides me with that real-time feedback. Because I've not sped anything up here. This is the sort of speed you can expect from Creo Simulate Live. That value there was up to sort of the 900 Hertz value, which is more of what I want. So I'm just going to go in and finish off that rib there, enter in some final values, and we're good to go. And again, that simulation will update as we run through. So that's a very quick modal analysis. You know, we've got those different resonant frequencies that we can go look at and investigate. Again, we get that real-time feedback on the results there. The final demonstration I'm going to show you then is a thermal demonstration. So this one's kind of been pre-set up, but we've got an assembly here of an engine block, quite a complex assembly, lots of different materials being involved in here. And you can see I've actually gone in and predefined some convection conditions on some of those surfaces. I didn't want to show you selecting those surfaces, so we save a bit of time there. But what I'm going to do, using the mini toolbar, we'll go in and add a load value to that top surface there. So we'll add in 1000 watts. And, you know, as I said, this is quite a complex assembly. There's a lot of geometry going on there. There's various different types of material. But we hit the play button on the simulation here, and within a matter of seconds, we go in and we can start viewing those results. So you can see there the temperature on the legend there running through. I could hide off my constraints so I get a nice clear view of what's going on screen. I can change my result types. Okay, I'm looking at heat flux or temperature there. And we've got this simulation probe. So this is available on all types of analysis, but this is the thermal. So I can choose particular points on my model, and they will show the corresponding values at those particular points in the model. With the legend here, it's interactive. So if I want to set a new base value or top level value within my legend, I can use the little drag handle to adjust my scale there and figure out the limits that I want to show on my screen. So that's simulation live from a demonstration point of view. I just wanted to give everyone a nice little overview. We'll sort of whet your appetite with the thermal, structural, and modal analyses. Obviously, there's a lot more we can do within here, and we'll aim to show more of those to you that are interested. But moving on, I'm just going to hand quickly back over to James, who's just going to sort of summarize what we've just seen there, and then we'll take a look at some questions and a few extra things that I just want to cover in a bit. But I'll hand over to you, James.
Well, kind of freestyle this last bit together. So yeah, what you've just seen is what we spoke about before, really, having the capability to use simulation where it's probably most needed, which is to drive the concept and the development phases using accurate results, rather than waiting to the end of the design process and then running a complicated or time-consuming analysis at that stage. So hopefully, by working in this way, you will have reduced design cycle times. The reliance on physical prototypes will be reduced as well. You'll have much faster time to market. You'll have a better understanding of the performance of your products, doing things in a virtual environment. The real takeaway from this is that simplification of the model, not required. Exporting the files to a third-party system, not required. Exporting to a separate results window, not required either. It's super fast, it's super straightforward and easy to use as well. And the target is that we are putting this in the hands of the design engineers so that they can make those decisions while they're designing, rather than waiting at the end. And then when you do need to do that final validation, we can send that information across to Creo Simulate or whatever other package that you're using. So by introducing Creo Simulate Live, getting that real-time exposure to your simulation results, we should be able to provide some real value to you. Okay, free stuff. Everyone likes free stuff. There is a free trial available for Creo Simulate Live to everyone, if you have Creo at the moment. One of the nice things about this is that there's two flavors of the free trial. If you're working on an older version of Creo, like Creo 2 or 3, or one of the early versions of 4, there is a cloud-based version of this that you can get your hands on that runs it in a kind of cloud-based emulated environment on Creo 5. I believe it's 7 hours, I think.
Yeah.
You get it counts down. And yeah, it will count down as you're using it, but it gives you the ability to try this out for yourselves. There's also another way of getting it that I'll hand over to Rory for.
Yeah, so the other way of accessing this is if you download the latest version of Creo 5, which is 5.0.3.0, you will see the new Simulate Live tab. If you click on that tab, there's a little icon in there that says, do you want to start a free trial? Click that, enter in your details, and then you get the same sort of access that you get from the cloud-based version there. You get Creo Simulate Live active for a certain number of hours on your machine that you can play around with and have a go at. So yeah, that's another way of accessing the free trial.
Excellent. So yeah, I suppose one of the questions that's popped up that we'll probably cover off at this point is, when is this released? So at the moment, this is available on Creo 4, if you're running Creo 4, but it's M090 release. If you're on Creo 5, it's 5040 release, and it will also be scheduled for Creo 6 as well, which is the 6010 release. So if you have those, great. Let's get you on board with it. If you don't, then we can get you the free trial.
Okay, so let's slide them. So I just wanted to mention a little caveat here with hardware requirements. There are some specific hardware requirements for this product. So if you're trying to use the free trial and it's not working, make sure you are up to date. So you've got to make sure you have an NVIDIA powered graphics card with CUDA enabled cores. And you've got to have a minimum of 4 gig of RAM, although we do recommend 8 gig plus if you can have access to that. Now, if this doesn't mean much to you, with regards to sort of the information here, there is a checker on the PTC website. So you can run this checker. It will analyze your computer for you and make sure you're in the supported platform for Creo Simulate Live. But there is a specific requirement of graphics card when it comes to this. I say most Quadro graphics cards are incorporated. We have a list which we'll probably send out with the final version of this webinar with the slides and everything else that goes with it. Okay then, so the final thing then is any questions. We've got a few questions come through on chat that we can go ahead and answer. If you have got any, please feel free to ask those now. If we don't get round to answering them all, again, we will send out a full list of all the questions and all the answers afterwards, along with the slides and a link to the video as well.
Yeah, we'll be putting this video up on YouTube, so if you missed anything or you want to rewatch anything, it'll be coming up in the next couple of days or so. We'll send an announcement out when that's up and running and live, and you can rewatch anything you've seen today. Or if you want us to come in and actually demonstrate on your products, let us know. We can organise a meeting and we can come over and show it to you in live and in person.
Yeah. So
first question.
Yeah, I'll kick off. We've got one through on chat here. So what licenses are available, basic or advanced? So Creo Simulation Live is sort of the license that is available now. That is for linear analysis, and I say that is accessible now. You can download that or get in contact with us for that. There is also going to be Creo Simulation AIM. So again, another partnership with Ansys here. We're going to look at this later on. This is going to be the sort of the full-blown simulation, non-linear analyses within Creo. And this will be available sometime around March 2020 is what we're aiming for at the moment. So those are the two licenses now. You have Creo Simulation Live, which you can get, which is linear, and you've got Creo Simulation AIM, which is not out till around 2020.
Okay, we've got another question. We've actually got Aston Smith in the room as well, who you may have all know, and he's been running around getting answers to questions for us and plopping them in front of us. So yeah, we've got one here, which is how accurate is the software? And the answer is actually, it's very accurate. But it's not really the accuracy that you should be focusing on, it's the speed at which we can get to those accurate results. So a good example is on a complex crankshaft analysis that we did. We were within 2% accuracy of what you would get with ordinary Creo Simulate. However, the difference was the time. So it took 3 minutes to process in Creo Simulate, and it took us 3 seconds to process in Simulate Live, which is a pretty big jump. There was another analysis that we did on a V8 model. I think the accuracy was within 5 or 6% compared to Creo Simulate, so pretty close. But the solution that we got in Creo Simulate Live was done in 10 seconds, where it was a 3-hour process for Creo Simulate. So the idea here is that we give you powerful capability. It's very simple to use and gives you results far quicker than you would get in a traditional simulation process. So by having that, getting that instant feedback means that it's much more of a reality to bring this into that design environment, that design process. Okay, we got any other questions?
Yeah, one here is just, when is this released?
I'll cover that.
Oh, you covered that one. Okay,
Yeah.
so we've done that. So the next one then would be, is this included in the Creo Simulate packages? No, it's not. This is a separate add-on for Creo. So Creo Simulation Live is separate to Creo Simulate or any other analysis package, but you do have that sharing of information. So if you do have Creo Simulate and you get Creo Simulate Live, there is a two-way talking between the two. So you can run analysis in Creo Simulate Live, hand it over to Creo Simulate, or vice versa. So you've got those options there.
I think we've hit the half-hour mark.
Yeah, so I think we're on our time schedule there. So
excellent. Okay, well, thank you everyone who's attended. That's a really good turnout. We can see the numbers here, many of you on there. If you have questions, keep firing them through to us. You can visit us at www.root-solutions.co.uk. If you want to email us, you can email sales@root-solutions.co.uk, and we will get back to all of you. There'll be the replay coming up. We'll have the follow-up information that we'll all email across to you, or information on how to access it. But yeah, that's been really good. Thank you for attending this morning, and we hope to do this again very soon. Thank you for watching. Take care.